The urban bus pulled away, its golden frame shimmering beneath the street lamps as rain tapped softly on the sidewalk. Emma lingered there, her lengthy golden locks tied back in a braid, raindrops gliding down her pale azure shirt. Her fingers quivered, faintly, not from the evening's coolness, but from the bold act she had just performed. The tan scarf, his scarf, remained warm in her clutch, a concrete symbol of her spontaneous brie. 3 months prior, Emma had started observing him at the bus stop, tall, with ebony hair always neatly swept back, and gentle eyes that creased slightly when he grinned at fellow commuters. He donned sharp shirts, occasionally with a tie, sometimes with it. And invariably, that plush-tan scarf circled his neck when the air grew crisp. They had never truly conversed, just courteous nods. Shared sighs when the bus was delayed, and thence just once. A short exchange about the erratic fall weather that left Emma replaying his voice in her thoughts for days. His name was Daniel, she learned. That day, and knowing it had somehow deepened her quiet fascination. Emma toiled at the city library, immersed daily in tales of epic love stories and bold declarations, yet her own life had always been calmer, more deliberate. She resided alone in a modest flat with more novels than furnishings, favored tea over coffee, and owned a cat named Hemingway who eyed her with mild disinterest. Romance had never been her forte. "You should just speak to him," her friend Olivia had urged over lunch one day. "What's the worst that could occur?" The worst, Emma knew, was that he'd gaze at her with bewilderment or sympathy, that the daydream she'd woven off shared passions and deep talks would shatter against his disinterest. So she persisted in their wordless routine, day after day, content with fleeting looks and imagined moments, until today, when everything shifted. Daniel had climbed aboard the bus as usual, but something was off. He carried a compact suitcase, and when he sat 3 rows ahead of Emma, as always, she caught him speaking on his phone. "Yes, I'm leaving tonight. The position in Chicago begins Monday." Chicago, hundreds of miles distant. Emma felt a chill settle in her core. When they reached their usual stop, Emma made a choice that stunned even herself. As Daniel stood to depart, she saw his scarf, the tan one he always wore, slip from his neck and drop to Theba's floor. By the time he stepped onto the pavement, Emma had grabbed the scarf and rushed after him. "Pardon me," she chuckled, her voice nearly drowned by the sound of rain striking the sidewalk. "Daniel, hold on." He turned, superciliar in his face. The rain fell harder now, drenching their clothes, but neither sought cover. "Your scarf," Emma said, extending it toward him. "You left it." "Oh." His hand touched his neck instinctively. "Thank you, I'd have missed that." This was the moment Emma should have nodded courteously and walked away. Instead, she found herself speaking, words spilling out before she could rethink. "I'm Emma. I've seen you at this stop for months, and I've always wanted to chat with you, but I was too timid. And now you're leaving, and I just wanted you to know I find you kind and fascinating, and I wish we'd had a chance to connect." Daniel stood utterly still, raindrops clinging to his dark eyelashes. Emma's cheeks flushed with shame. What had she been thinking? "I'm sorry," she said swiftly. "That was out of line. I hope your new job goes well." She thrust the scarf into his hands and turned to go, but his fingers gently caught hers. "Emma," he said, and just hearing her name from him made her heart flutter. "I've noticed you too, the reserved girl with the pensive eyes, always carrying a new book each day." They stood in their rain, neither fully trusting the moment unfolding. Daniel smiled, a warm smile that lit his eyes. "I must leave tonight," he said with regret, "but it's not permanent. The Chicago project lasts only 3 months. Hope stirred in Emma's chest. "Would it be okay if I called you when I return?" Emma nodded, struggling to hide her grin. They swapped numbers there in the pouring rain, the bus Longoni, the city unnoticed around them. "I have to go," Daniel said at last. "My flight's in a few hours." Emma understood. This wasn't a film, no grand kiss in their rain, no abrupt change of plans. Real life had timetables and duties. "Safe travels," she said, stepping back, already wondering if she'd imagined. The warmth in his gaze. "Keep this for me," Daniel said, offering the tan scarf. "Until I return." Emma took it, fingers brushing the soft cloth. "I will." She watched him vanish around a corner, taking with him the chance of what might have been. But she held his scarf, his number, and a promise small treasures tockling. To over the coming months. For 3 months, Emma wore the scarf on chilly days, its soft texture a reminder of that rainy evening. Daniel texted occasionally from Chicago brief notes about the weather, a humorous work anecdote, or a book he thought she'd like. Emma replied in kind, their digital exchanges a cautious bridge across the distance. December arrived, bringing early dusk and festive lights across the city. Emma had just ended her library shift and was heading to the bus stop, her breath visible in the cold air. The same stop where, 3 months ago, she had voiced her daring confession. A sleek black limousine. Parked near the stop matter her pause. Such vehicles were rare here. As she neared, the back door opened, and Daniel stepped out. He looked unchanged, yet somehow more assured. His dark hair slightly longer, his smile just as sure-called. He wasn't wearing a scarf. "Daniel," Emma said, startled. "You're back." "I returned yesterday," he replied, stepping closer. "I wanted to surprise you." Emma gestured at the limousine. "This is quite a surprise." Daniel laughed, a sound that warmed her despite the December cold. "The company sent it to fetch me from the airport. I persuaded the driver to detour to the bus stop where it all started." Daniel's expression grew earnest. "Emma, for 3 months, I've been reflecting on what you did, how courageous you were to share your feelings. I've wanted to do Thesum." Emma's heart pounded as Daniel took her hands, his touch soft against her skin. "These past months, texting, learning more about you, I realized what I felt that day in the rain wasn't just surprise or flattery. I felt a bond with you I couldn't explain." His eyes met hers. "I still feel it." Emma stood motionless, afraid any move might shatter this moment. She wore his scarf, donned instinctively against the December chill. "I like you, Emma," Daniel continued. "Your kindness, your quiet resilience, the way you view the world. I'd like to see where this might go, if you're open to it." The world seemed to shrink to just them, standing at a bus stop where countless people pass daily, most never connecting, never reaching out, never taking the chance Emma had 3 months ago. "I'm open," she said softly. Daniel smiled and touched the tan scarf around her neck. "It suits you better anyway." They stood a moment longer, snow starting to drift around them, replacing the rain off their first true talk with something fresh, full of promise. "Would you like a ride home?" Daniel asked, nodding toward the waiting limousine. Emma eyed the luxurious car, then Daniel's hopeful face. "Actually, I've always liked the bus," she admitted. "You see more of the city that way. Real life happens on buses." Daniel's smile broadened. "You know, I've missed that bus ride." Together, they thanked the limousine driver, who nodded knowingly before driving off. As they walked to the familiar bus stop, Daniel's hand found Emma's, their fingers lacing naturally. "So," he said as they settled on the bench to wait, "what book are you reading this week?" Emma smiled and began to share, their conversation flowing effortlessly, free of shyness or doubt. Around them, the city kept its rhythm, buses coming and going, people passing, lives briefly crossing before parting gain. But Emma and Daniel stayed, 2 souls who had bridged the gap, who had taken a chance on connection in a world where silence was easier. The tan scarf, securely around Emma's neck, swayed slightly in the winter breeze, a testament to courage rewarded, to possibilities bracked, to the unexpected paths that begin with a single brave step forward.